What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. We're continuing to take a look at the brand new Incarnon upgrades for the old school weapons. Subject of today's video, a weapon so terrible that it badly needs a helping hand, and that is the Furis. Furis is another weapon that's been in the game for a serious amount of time and has had an attempt to increase its relevancy in the past through the augment mod for it. However, the base weapon, since it doesn't have a prime somehow, is absolutely awful and didn't get the boost they were hoping for with that augment. So it's time for round 2, trying to make it irrelevant. So what does this upgrade do? Well, on transformation it takes the frankly terrible stats, throws all the impact, puncture and slash out of the window and makes it pure heat. Also buffs the crit and the status stats. Oh, and did I mention they turned it into an amp? Because, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's right, the trend of turning these old weapons into something, well, frankly bizarre and a bit bonkers continues here. It projects an AoE flamethrower type beam in front of it, hitting literally everything in its path, much like the Ignis or the Amp. We have some interesting Incarnon upgrades to choose from too. First level we've got increased base damage with a further increase if you have overshields, or more multi-shot when the enemy is hit with electricity. Second level, it's fairly standard, accuracy, mag size, or 10% chance to reload on a headshot. Third is fire rate on headshots, crit damage increase when below 40% crit, or a status chance boost. So with those in mind, how are we going to build? Well, for the Incarnon upgrade choices, we're going to go with the Haven of Foray for the base damage bump, Executioner's Fortune for the instant reload chance, and Elemental Balance for the increase to status chance. Then we're going with a straight up crit build, Hornet Strike, Galvanized Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Primed Crit mods, Viral Damage with the 2 dual stat mods, Winds of Purity Augment, which will cause the weapon to heal us on damage done, and then in the Exilus I have Prime Mutation, mostly because I can't find any good Exilus mod to go in here, to be perfectly honest. I do still need to do more testing to see if Lethal Momentum does, well, anything at all though. I am using Riven on the build that you see in the footage, and that's replacing my Hornet Strike since it's a damage multi-shot Riven, but you can pretty much replace certain mods depending on your Riven. If you've got a crit chance Riven, you can replace Pistol Gambit, crit damage can replace Target Cracker. The build is pretty tight on this, so the Riven does kind of end up replacing one of these mods rather than supplementing it. So why are we ignoring a couple of the Incarnon upgrades? Well, let's start with the one that had me the most interested when I first picked up the Furis and looked at the upgrades, and that is the electric damage increasing multi-shot one. Well, the base heat combined with how difficult this weapon is to mod means that leveraging that electric proc, or the electric damage, you need 3 elemental mods, with the advanced elemental combination including heat, because you need to take that base heat into something, otherwise it's going to combine with that 3rd mod. But then that forces you into blast or gas damage. But the problem becomes space. You need to drop something useful to be able to do this. Most likely that would be the Winds of Purity mod. But then that heal when combined with the Incarnon is so strong that this is pretty much a non-option for me. You could do it though, that if you decide to run the Incarnon upgrade where you have the increased damage, the increased crit damage when under 40% crit. But then the problem is you're trading more crit damage for a less reliable crits, and honestly a vastly worse elemental combo, all to try and force the extra multi-shot. When you factor all of that in, it's just not worth it, to be perfectly honest, and that's why I settled on this build. So what do I think of the Incarnon Furis? And well, it's a double-edged sword with it. The range isn't great, and it is laughably bad against enemies like Acolytes, and it's reasonably weak against Examite, not hugely, but there are some that it does struggle with. But against everything else, it shreds. It's easy to forget that it's not a special weapon, it's not a Prime, it's not a Wraith, it's not a Vandal. This is just the bog standard Furis. Its frankly pathetic standard stats means that stacking the headshots required to be able to transform this is the easiest out of any Incarnon weapon in the game, because, well, you don't actually have to worry about killing the target you're shooting. But once you get that transform done, you can just mow down groups of enemies with ease. The weapon is a blast. But what's more, I've not mentioned the best part of the weapon yet. Well, are you bored of running Gloom on every frame so you can actually have good healing? Well, now you've got a secondary weapon which can slaughter groups of enemies with ease, all while absolutely flooding your health pool with glorious healing. Combine this with a good heavy attacking life strike melee, and now you have something to do with your acolytes, and you have unlimited healing without the need for gloom, which honestly, it's time to rejoice at that. That in itself is absolutely amazing. I also have to give a bit of a shout out to the infinite stacking heat procs as well, since that really carries the damage of the weapon hard. A handy tip to get the most out of the weapon, aim for the head. I know a lot of AoE weapons, stuff like the Plasmor, don't have headshot multipliers, however this does, and it actually makes the weapon scale a hell of a lot better than it really should. Easy AoE headshots on an entire group sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, I like the Furis Incarnon. It almost makes up for it not having a prime, although this Incarnon on a prime would be way better one day, maybe. It's worth the investment even if it's just to have an incredibly strong healing on hand and free up an ability slot for helmeting something else onto a frame for a change. Can you tell I'm bored of the Gloom meta yet? I will be incredibly happy if his weapon pops up on a circuit, and I will select it without a lot of thought. It's fun and it's effective. It has its limitations, but you can play around those with a decent kit. All in all, I'm very happy with this upgrade. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the Furis and its new Incarnon upgrade. I'll be doing at least 2 videos a week on these new Incarnon weapons, that's the plan, so stay tuned for those. For now though, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I shall see you in the next video.